Alright, it is Miss Eberly here, and I am bringing the video of solving more equations. And these equations, they are mysteries. That's why I have this guy here. You're looking to find what? What is the mystery? The mystery is the x value. The x value is what we're trying to figure out. So I happen to be at home filming this, and so my son Ari might say hi at some point. He is saying some stuff in the background. But yes, the mystery is trying to figure out what value is that x. When x looks in the mirror, x is looking in the mirror. Who does x see? What number is x? So to figure this out, we're going to figure it out the same way that we are figuring out the adding and subtracting one. So we have two ways. One, drawing, and two, using algebra. So whether you like it or not, these are the two that I'm going to show you. And you're going to open your mind to both. So, first thing I'm going to draw is that rectangle for x. Now we don't know how much x is worth, so I'm just drawing it out. Thing is, in this case, we don't just have one x, we have two of them. So I'm going to draw out not just one, but two of them. So now the next x needs to be approximately the same as the first one. Okay, because these are supposed to be the same amount. So I have two x's, and it says that two x's is worth how much? Negative 10.5. So I'm going to say this whole thing, two x's, is worth negative 10.5. And then I would say, how do I go backwards? Well, if this whole chunk was worth this much, and we need to figure out what one of these chunks is worth, well, I would take negative 10.5 and do what? I need to divide it up into not one, but two equal parts to see how much each part would be worth. So I have a negative divided by a positive, so it's going to be negative, and then 10.5 divided by 2. Bring up my decimal. 2 goes into 10 5 times, and 2 goes into 5 twice. And I'm going to keep going here. 2 goes into 10 5 times perfectly. So I end up with negative 5.25. So now I know that each x, this x, and this x, are both worth negative 5.25. And it makes sense because if I add negative 5.25 to negative 5.25, I should get negative 10.5. That's that whole chunk here. So this x, we just solved the mystery, is worth negative 5.25. And if we have two of them, we would end up with negative 10.5. So now that's the way to solve it, drawing a picture. So now let's go ahead and solve it algebraically. So algebraically, I'm going to rewrite this problem. I'm going to draw my line down because we have that balance scale. I'm picturing in my head the balance scale, and right now I have two x's and negative 10.5 on the other side. Okay, and right now it's balanced. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use the addition property of equality or the subtraction property of equality. I'm going to use either the multiplication or the division property of equality. Now in the picture, you notice that we had to take that negative 10.5 and divide it into two parts. We're going to do the same thing here. So in this case, I see my whole goal is to get x alone. I want to know what one x is worth. Okay? Right now I know what two x's is worth. So what's happening between the 2 and the x? Multiplication. So to get down to just one x, we need to get rid of this multiplication by 2. So to get rid of multiplying by 2, we're going to take 2x and divide by 2. Okay? So I'm going to do the opposite of multiplication and divide by the number that I want to go away from the x. But if I do that to one side, I'm going to have to do the same exact thing to the other side. You guys, this is what we were doing in the picture. We were taking negative 10.5 and dividing it by 2. So now I would like you to rewrite this as a fraction. This means 2x divided by 2. And this part, we already did. We already divided that, and it was negative 5.25. And over here, 2 divided by 2 is what? It is 1. So that's how we are left with 1x equals negative 5.25. 2x's is worth negative 10.5, and 1x is worth negative 5.25. All right, so let's try one more. This one, a little different. What's different about it? There's division. So when we draw out the picture, that's what we're going to start with first. We have our x. But this time it doesn't say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's. We have an x that's being divided into 4. So if we take that x and we divide it up into 4 parts. So I'm going to take this whole chunk and I'm going to divide it into 4. So there I divided it into 2. And now I'm dividing it into 4 equal parts. And it says if I take x and I divide it into 4 chunks, each one of those chunks, pieces, is worth 30. So I'm going to write in that this chunk is 30, which means that what is that one? Well, that's 30. What is that one? Oh, that's 30. Oh, what's that one? Oh, it's 30. Meaning if we want the whole thing of what x is worth, what do we have to do with 30? Well, you could add it 4 times, or I could just take 30 times 4. And I end up with x being worth 120. So the last part to this is solving it via algebra. So if I have x divided by 4 equals 30, how would we solve and get the same answer using algebra? So I'm going to rewrite both sides, first step. And then to get rid of this division by 4, I'm going to do the opposite of division, the inverse operation, which is multiplication by the number that I want to go away from the x, which is 4. But if I do this to one side of the equation, I'm going to have to do it to the other side. Okay, see the exact same thing happening. Because we want to keep that balance scale the same. And then, on this side, we know that's 120. And then, how do we simplify this? Well, 4 is a fraction. It's 4 over 1. And when I multiply across, I get 4 times x over 4 times 1, which is 4. And then what is 4 divided by 4? Ha ha ha! That's 1! So we get what 1x is worth, 120. And if we actually check our work, does 120 divided by 4 give us 30? You could just guess and say yes, or you could sit there and divide and say 4 goes into 12 how many times? 3 times! Perfectly. Does that mean it's just 3? No, I bring down the 0. How many times 4 go into 0? 0 times. So yes, it works. Okay, and this is what we are practicing tomorrow, Monday. So be ready.